So it's episode 3, all things Barson and why you should ship it.
Yeah.
We were gonna do this tomorrow, and then the news came out that Roll is coming back.
Yes.
Barbara is gonna be on the finale, and we decided, screw it, we're doing this at 10 o'clock, almost 10:30 at night for me, and 9:30 at night for you.
Yeah. I don't sleep anyway, so who cares?
I only do because my family decides to wrap up, so but I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited.
We are. So, if you don't know, this is our podcast. Truth runs deep. Is and if this is your first, we're so glad you're taking time to listen to us. And we talk about SV, we talk about organized crime, we talk about all kinds of things. Honestly, we talk about fan fiction writing and all things. But today's episode is very special to us, and we had pre-planned to do this because it was hiatus week anyway. So we're like, this is the week we're gonna do all things Barson. But little did we know, today would be the day we got confirmation.
Hooray!
Little did we know. So this is a very exciting
I'm
episode.
so excited. I'm coughing.
I feel like we always end up choking or something because we've done horrible things and just start choking.
This time it's because we're excited.
We did, and then I have asthma, so I'm always kind of choking. But anyway, I'll stop rambling about my health problems. But so, I guess we honestly became friends over Barson, and that's like the craziest thing. Like a year ago, we mentioned this on the first episode. We've been friends like a year.
We don't know how it happened per se,
Nope, I really
but
don't.
it happened. So.
It happened, all right. So, we are very excited to talk about all things Barson and why you should be a Barson shipper. You should. It is one of the best ships of like any show I've watched, even though it's not canon. Not yet, anyway. Just saying.
May 19th. May 19th. Can we?
May 19th.
May 19th.
And whatever day it is, May 17th, May 19th, I don't remember.
May 19th.
May 19th. May 19th.
Yeah, May 19th. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna probably just. This is the episode that's gonna be the most rambling.
It will be probably the longest episode ever. Who knows? We're just gonna go for it. So, should we just hop right in? With our little notes, because we have little notes. I have to have notes all the time.
Do we want to talk about the news first?
Let's start with the news, and then we'll come back around because it matters.
So,
it builds with the story what we're trying to get.
It came out today that
it was like 4 o'clock for me. Maybe it was like 4-ish. Maybe
I don't know. I was not paying attention to time. All I know is a friend sent me the article, and I thought that she was sending me like an old article.
I did too.
The same picture that they used for when he was first coming, and then I clicked on it, and I checked the date, and it's April 21st, and I squealed into a pillow because I knew.
I don't remember what I did. I kind of just sat here. I was typing a paper, and I was like, oh.
I didn't even read the entire thing.
I didn't either. I was just like, oh no. I read like the first couple sentences, and I was like, oh my, it is.
But so he's coming back. He's going to be defending a domestic violence victim who needs more help than the squad can give her. And I find this very interesting but also exciting. Amanda is the one who calls him or gets him and is like, we need your help. Which is awesome because Kelly wasn't in the last
23
episode he was in. So now we get Kelly and Raoul scenes, and I'm very excited because they both love each other and respect each other. And yeah, I could go on and on about how, even though it's not like always inferred that Barbara and Rollins respect each other.
Yes, they have a great friendship. It's not talked about much.
It's not, and they have banter, but they also respect each other.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Also, yeah, and they're like, well, Rollins has to do it because right now, Olivia and him still aren't talking, but
no, they're not.
Can Rollins be the mediator. I'll be fine. I'll accept that. Rollins can be the mediator and be like, I called him because he's the best defense attorney we know, and you two need to get your crap together and talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really more on Olivia because we'll go through this in a second. We have a
Oh yeah,
very distinct theory that's like 3 pages long, which you won't read your whole thing, but like we first
3 pages
when
long is
we
an
it
entire
might be longer
fic.
than that because we like I wrote one you wrote in what draft when we first watched People versus Richard Wheeler. Then we all thought about it because it's all we could do because everyone was crying themselves to sleep at night. But
I did.
and then I was up at like 3 a.m. because I'm always up at 3 a.m. And then I thought more, and then like I watched it again, and then we talked more about this, and then we started writing truth. But that's not part of this story for today. But
No, you
it's
get a
not.
writing break, people.
We did.
Okay, yeah.
So
So Roll's coming back for.
mhm.
Oh, and it happens to be the season finale, which is
Yes,
exciting.
it is. It's very exciting.
I don't remember what the name of the episode is,
It didn't. It
but
didn't come out yet.
I didn't come out yet. All right, cool.
No,
Well,
no.
it's May 19th. That's all we know.
Yes, all we know, and we know a little bit of the synopsis, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So
I will say people are very concerned
yeah,
about if he's going to go up against Carisi again. And everyone, don't get me wrong, the acting is amazing, and Peter and Rue will kill it every single time. And I'm tired of it.
and yeah. I'm like, we can't do this again because we just cause
Like,
suffering,
it's
pain.
gonna cause suffering for somebody and viewers.
Yeah, that already happened the first time. We can't go through that
Like,
again.
right now they're at like one and a half, like one win for Carisi, and like I don't know,
a mistrial isn't
half,
technically a win, so
half. I'm
it's
gonna
not.
call it half a win for Barba. Not even. And I mean, don't get me wrong. From what we know right now, it'd be a case that I feel like we would want him to win, but
Mm-hmm.
I also don't want him to like. I'd be much better if some reason Carisi says I'm not taking this case, and Barbara goes against Baptiste, the other
Yeah, yeah,
ADA,
that would be. I would take that better than Carisi.
or if they want to make it a theater extravaganza, they have Roll go up against Betty Buckley, and I will
Oh yeah.
praise the SBU theater gods for about months. Anyway,
Interesting idea. There was something else I was gonna say.
I just want them to be like, this be like a team up, and they all work on this case together, like old times.
Yeah, definitely.
Because even though we've seen the squad work with defense attorneys,
Yeah.
it's not like far fetched for them to be able to work with Barbara on this case, and it probably shouldn't be considering Armando calls him is like, we need your help.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely.
And I will say, I think it's like
I cl-
finally.
I
Sorry.
randomly clicked on Twitter and on the trending page for crime
Oh
drama,
yeah, Barbara's
it was
trending.
at 10.8.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're all excited, or
we are very
confused,
excited.
conflicted, but mostly
Yeah, no
excited.
one knows what to think. And
No
the
one
funny,
knows.
no, and the funny thing is, I called this
You did.
like
You very much
a
did.
couple weeks ago because SVU diehards, I think is for they like will find the episodes that are coming up, and there was when we found out it was a repeat where I was like, we'll see. But then when they said which one it was, which was the People versus Richard Wheeler, just 23-9, the set. I have conflicted feelings about 23-9. Oh boy.
Oh
And I was like, wait a
goodness.
second. And then I was like, wait a second. Then the last, like, in the fall before that episode came out, hiatus, they played Sightless and the Savage. And then I was like, they kind of did that again. And they played People vs. Truly tonight because recording this literally like the same day all this news came out. And then that episode came out. I just recently just both watched it again too. So we have some things to talk about that episode because we weren't doing a podcast then. But we'll get there in a second. But I was like, And then the news came out. We were like, well, I was right. I have some crazy thoughts in my head. Sometimes they're just right.
Yeah. As I was saying, finally Barbara gets a case that's like a good case. Because don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, the one is sightless. I feel like that was a reasonable thing for him to
Yeah, it was
take.
reasonable.
It had like a lot of messy stuff because the squad was helping him, but also had to help Creasy, but was mainly helping Barbara. Anyway, they were probably still figuring out the kinks of how to rate
Mm-hmm.
Barbara as a defense attorney.
Yeah, because they kind of just like, brought that up. It didn't, because no one knew. I mean, yes, it did, because he says he was a defense attorney for when in what's the episode called?
I don't know. It said
Ooh,
Finn. Finn is the one who said Liv said he might be considering doing defense work, so
yeah, and
they knew.
they knew.
But um, the second time he came, we don't talk about that because
No, we
we
cried.
don't. We won't talk about it
But
unless
we
our
talk about
theory
it.
actually is true, and then we'll
Yeah,
be like, okay, fine.
yeah, because we have a theory, and I think we need to discuss it because I feel like nobody's put this out there. I think we
Oh yeah,
played
we're
around
putting
with
this
it.
out there now.
It's out there more now, kind of out there
Yeah,
now, but it's not the most popular theory, I think.
no.
It's not the most popular one, but it's one that I think more Barson's leading to.
Yeah,
However, I don't really see this one out there a lot. So, um, should we talk about that next? I feel like we have to before we loop back around because we have to talk about.
I do want to like say why I think this time this case is actually good.
Okay.
So Barbara grew up in a house where there was domestic violence. His mom was abused, and as far as we know, he was too. I mean, it was never like specifically said, but basically you inferred it.
Because
Uh,
he says, "Oh,
well,
it's
before like
in."
they messed with
Yeah,
the timeline. He said my dad's been dead 15 years, and my hand curls into a fist every time I think of
yeah, I
him.
think. Yeah, yeah. And
So
then they
yeah,
messed it up in
and
the
it was
Forbidden episode, and
and
they
it
said
was
7 in
oh
the
yeah,
Forbidden
and it was in an
episode.
episode where they were talking about an abusive father. So
Yeah.
um, he
Yeah.
also has all the SVU 6 years of SVU experience, and he's been called a feminist icon. So I feel like all that is like why this case is like a perfect case for him to take as a defense attorney.
Yeah,
Because being a
definitely.
defense attorney is not horrible.
No.
I used to think that, and then Barbara became one, and I kind of like changed my thinking
Yeah,
from looking
definitely.
to like cases that they've taken.
Mm-hmm.
But for any case that he could take, this is a very good case for him to be defending.
Yeah.
Okay, now we
So,
can get to
okay.
the theory.
So
Go,
I've
because
had this.
you're the
Okay.
one who came
Okay.
up
I
with
wrote
it.
this theory, and it's very, very long. However, well, we're not going to go through everything in this, but we're going to kind of talk through this because it's very, very important to one, the story that we wrote, and two, it makes a lot of logical sense when you think about it. Okay. So if this episode, well, they kind of when they, when the trailer came out for 23-9, they changed the scene, the introduction scene, or not the introduction
Mm.
scene, that scene, the hug scene that we did not get robbed of. Sad.
Robbed. They robbed us of the hug.
Robbed. Give that back, please.
If you
If you
can't
can,
give us that
if you can give
scene,
it back,
give us another one.
give us
Fine.
something. Give us something back, because I feel like I need some cheer in my life. This thing is actually like 6 pages. Not gonna lie. Anyway, so what we're thinking in my head, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what I was thinking is, Wheatley knows a lot of like get into any kind of system, any kind of just he's really hacks like the banks and stuff and all kinds of systems. He can do whatever he wants, right? Right.
Yeah.
So basically, if he can hack in people's technology. So what I was thinking, because Elliot is close with Liv, right? So we can like hack their phones or something, whatever. It sounds kind of crazy, but it kind of makes sense. So if you can find out what Elliot is doing, find out what Olivia is doing, and then you found out Olivia is close with Barbara, and Barbara's a defense attorney, right? Right.
Yes.
So I mean, obviously, Barbara would not take a case like that because that would not take Richard Wheatley's case because there's no honest conclusion you can make of it just because it's a mistrial. But like you can make whatever assumptions you want about that, but it doesn't really matter in the sense that these are, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the sense that, the first conversation that Barbara has with Wheatley is that he says that, like, he talks to me, they talk for a second, he's like, what's your chip? And then Wheatley says, I have a thing for self-made men who work twice as hard, and the only thing they have is a chip, what's yours? And then, like, Barbara says, I don't suffer fools, especially for clients. And they kind of, like, talk a little bit more, and he's like, you accepted my offer. And Barbara says, whoever says crime doesn't pay wasn't a lawyer. So this is an interesting scene because you think about, like, what kind of things, what is the only thing that Wheatley could offer Barbara? Because it's not money. It's definitely not money. Because even Barbara tells him that there's not enough money in the world. Later on in the episode, he says that, and in the end of the Christmas episode, which I think is the worst episode of in the show, but that doesn't really matter. But
oh, we don't. It's just
we don't talk about that.
We don't.
We don't talk. But
we don't talk about the Christmas episode.
We sure don't. It makes me cringe really hard.
I can't
I'm sorry.
say it. I was trying to do. We talk about Bruno. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. We can't talk about that one anymore. That is the cringiest episode of my life. I almost ruined my family over that day we were watching it too, and I almost ruined. I was very upset. I did not want to talk to anybody, but my mom was asking me stuff.
I know we don't talk about it, but I have to say this. In the 2309, Olivia was like, you haven't asked about to Elliot. You haven't asked about me once about anything before I leave. And the first thing the man decides to ask about is, have you been dating?
I know, we're like,
you need better to ask question.
Exactly, that's the worst question to ask. Like, that's question of anything ask. You could have asked her. He asked her that. Like, and what is he gonna do if she said, yeah, your life?
Ask about your kid if you want to. Her kid. I don't think he cares. Something more. Yeah, I don't think he cares, but you know. But anyway, okay, keep going. I keep getting you stressed. Keep going.
I know you. Okay, so they have that conversation. So when you think about it, there's nothing like I was saying before. It's not money. It's definitely not money. No. But I mean, there's the only thing that made logical sense to me was that Wheatley threatened to kill Olivia. That's the only thing that makes logical sense in my head. Because it's not money, it's not really anything else that we can think of anyway. So, and it kind of fits into, we'll talk about it in a second when we get to the trial, closer to the trial. Yeah. But, yeah. So then a little bit later, Elliot and Olivia are talking and Raphael comes in and they talk about Raphael's a great defense attorney. And then, Raphael's really nice to Elliot. And he's like, I'm sorry for your loss and all that stuff. And then he's like, why are you defending the man that killed my wife? But then if you look at the scene very carefully, Raphael looks around Elliot.
Today.
To Olivia. Yeah, you have to, if you had, go watch, listeners, go watch this episode and watch very carefully for body language.
Elliot asked him, why are you doing this? And Raphael's eyes flicker over to Olivia, and the camera cuts to her as well.
Yes, it's very particular about that, and I think it matters a lot, especially when you go through this episode, because there's a lot more instances like this in this episode. So anyway, so Elliot leaves. So then Raphael and Olivia go into Olivia's office, and she's like, I know this is how you justify this I know this is how you justify this to yourself, but I'm asking you do not take this case. Because he kind of talks about police. He talks about police and injustice in the system, all this stuff, blah blah blah. And Olivia clearly does not get it. She really doesn't. Because he says, "Be careful what you wish for. I step aside and whatever Shark Wheatley hires will not only put NYPD and Stabler." I left out a word or something there, but you.
Not only the NYPD and Stabler, but you.
Yeah, I left words out or something there. I don't know what happened to my brain. I think it was 3 a.m. when I wrote this. And these notes are from January 21st, or the last part of this is.
For a while.
We've had this for a while. It was not only would they eviscerate you. Oh no, let's skip the line. He says not just your partnering with Stabler, but your relationship. You should have never been near this case. not only will they eviscerate you on the stand, maybe end your career. Yeah, he very clearly points that out to her. Like, if you like look very and like watch, like if you go back and watch 1.0, like Olivia really like makes sure Elliot does not get in much trouble as he should, and she continues to do this when he comes back. Um, and the particular scene we're gonna talk about in a second when we get to the trial, kind of shows that a little bit more, and it's a big point also into Raphael really does intentionally protect Olivia when she's on the stand. So then she says, which is it? Are you protecting me, or is this your defense lawyer outrage, or is this about Stabler? And then he says, I don't know, Stabler. Maybe it's the first two out of three. And two out of three are you protecting me, and is this your defense lawyer outrage? And are you protecting me? Really, really sticks out a lot too. He could be yeah, sure, he's protecting her career and her job, but like when you're dealing with Richard Wheatley, he's protecting her way more than that.
Mm-hmm. He's protecting her life. Like,
yes, this theory I stand upon. We both stand upon this theory, so it's very, very like it's something about that. Um, this that theory did not come happen. Okay, so the next part in the episode, I think that's right when the trial getting closer to the trial because we're not the other stuff doesn't really matter in between there. So the first thing that was I didn't notice this at first until somebody pointed this point out on Tumblr, and we threw it into our fic because it matters a lot. So, when Olivia's on the stand, Raphael shows the tape of the from the Return of Prodigal Son, that episode, and when Olivia and Ellie are interrogating the suspect, it doesn't really matter since I can't remember, but anyway, he gets really, really upset, and then like Olivia stands in between the suspect and Elliot, and like Elliot like grabs her shoulders and her, right, and it's something I did notice. Somebody pointed this out and put the two scenes side by side because when Raphael plays the tape, he stops the tape before you can like clearly see like Elliot grabbing her, and it's so like we like there's a parallel of this. So like I don't know why I'm talking with my hands. Not like you can see me, but it makes sense in my head what I'm doing.
Oh, I do a lot. It's fine.
Okay, so it's a very intentional choice for Raphael to pause the tape there because that would literally like because Elliot's quite a very violent person most of the time, all the time. Showing that like even though like Elliot occasionally says that he loves Olivia, he's angry. He doesn't care. He doesn't really care who's in his way. He doesn't care if he's hurt anybody. He just does what he wants. Yeah. And that scene. Hold on. I did not write very much about that scene, but it's a very like important thing to realize. And as you go through the trial and like the different things, there's some other things you need to notice. And the most important thing to me is that you have to look at like Barbara's body. Like I study communication in college. I studied communication in college, so I look at man, I forgot the terms in my head. I have too many things in my head. There's verbal communication and nonverbal communication. And the nonverbal communication is very, very key. And when you look at everything that like I keep looking at Twitter notifications, and they keep popping up and they get distracting me. But it's very like it's body language is so key to like understanding like there's something deeper going on in this scenario, and you have to really watch it carefully because I think the first time you see it, um, the first I think it's when like Wheatley wants to like take a break or something. I don't know whatever he asked for. He whispers something in Raphael's ear, then they like go take like it's like cut to like the scene. Right. So like Wheatley's talking like he's really close to her. It's kind of creepy. And then like if you look down and look at like Barba's hands, his hands are really fidgety. Like
I
he's
noticed
upset.
it
Yeah.
so clearly
Yeah,
today.
it's very clear if
Hand,
you
he's
his hands are
shaking. His hand
he's
was shaking. His hand was
yes.
shaking even more as like Wheatley got closer to her. Oh, and
And
he
that
made it very clear to tell him, "Yes, I have to be here." In other words, no, I'm not leaving you alone with her.
yeah, definitely.
You
It's
can have
very
your conversation, but I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, definitely. It's very like intentional. You have to watch the episode carefully because if you don't, you're not gonna notice this kind of thing. Because we
Nope.
this is the I watched it like that day, then I watched it the next morning, and I haven't watched it since. But I've thought about it all the time. Yeah, it's always in my brain because we always write about those kind of things. Because we're always writing together like all the time. So, like the trial, there's a couple other times, not really in this part, but later on when Angela takes the stand, I think it's the next time you kind of really like really notice it again is after Angela is done testifying because the whole like ordeal of like Angela and Elliot, whatever
Mm-hmm.
they were doing something, I don't know, it's very strange. um so he says like they go to the other room, it's just Wheatley and Raphael go to the other room again. He's like, what the hell kind of soap opera are you running? And I think and then he like gets angry and he like throws the box of Chinese food at the wall, and he's like, it's a very interesting scene because it's not like because Barbara doesn't really like say that much to him, to Wheatley. Like he doesn't want to upset him any further. I
No.
think. Did you notice that?
He like makes his statements very brief. Although he was at one point, he was trying to get a reaction out of the jury, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Well, based on your reaction, I'm going to say that it works.
yeah,
It worked
definitely.
because
Yeah. Also, something I
uh,
forgot to point out before that is that like Barbara says a lot of things and then is like that he's like he takes them back. Like he's very intentional about like he says some very like
when he keeps it and when he withdraws.
he withdraws. He says a lot of things that are very interesting but he's like I'm he was like withdrawn. So those kind of things I think were intentional, just to hint at that he's very intentional about like what he says and how he says it. Like when like people like they're like withdrawn, like you're not supposed to obviously like to run off the record, but you can't forget it from your brain. So I don't even understand how this thing even
Oh
works.
yeah, he's very intentional. What he said, he wanted to make a point, even if the jury isn't
Supposed,
supposed to remember it. They're
yeah,
gonna remember it.
yeah, they're gonna remember that definitely, and that's very like key to a lot of the things. Anyway, back to where I was because I have the shortest attention span ever. Um, that's just taking more notes. I watched it again, but it's very like once again like Raphael does not want to upset Wheatley because there's a couple of times he like does push at that a little too hard and he can like and Wheatley looks upset, so he has to kind of change his tactic. I think that happens quite a few times also.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then Richie testifies and changes his story, but that doesn't really matter in this case of the story on what we're talking about. So if something's questionable there, we'll never know the answer to that because Richie's dead. So
Nope.
rip.
Because his
But
dad killed him.
his dad killed him. Anyway, so the next thing is this. I think it's the next day when Elliot takes the stand, and they have this like Baptiste and Carisi and Elliot, and I think Finn is there too. They have this conversation about like Elliot, you cannot blow it on the stand. Like you cannot get angry
You
on the
have,
stand.
he's like, you have to remain calm and collected.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you know who you're talking to?
Yeah, like yeah, they should have known who they were talking to. Like it was gonna go bad from the start. But anyway, he gets on the stand. And then there's another time. This is another time where like Barbara looks at Olivia before he says anything. Because I put this in the notes that we had. Like he looks at her first. Like he has to remind himself Okay. Like he has to remind himself like why he's doing what he's doing. I think it's a very like intentional and thing you have to like really pay attention to. And Elliot gets on the stand and blows it. And not even after like it takes like a good like few minutes and he blows it.
Yeah.
He blows it hard. And he gets in trouble. He got held in contempt. Definitely got held in contempt. And we expected that from Elliot. He was not gonna hold himself together. And it's not like anybody I don't know if anybody else expected it or not, but I did. He could not hold himself together, especially when it started getting personal. Because he talks about like Barbara asking like, are you getting like treatment for your PTSD? Are you handling your grief? Are you like taking out being very like you're very violent? Keep blaming like everybody except like, you keep blaming everyone for this happening for like Kathy being killed. But like, do you know the truth? And it really like pushed his buttons. And then he was like, he's like, no, I'm for sure it is Wheatley. And he's like, are you sure? Because to be honest, nobody's really sure. But and that's what he was hell bent on believing. And he asked the judge, like, "Are you getting paid for that?" And I was like, "Oh, contempt." Yeah, and that's a problem. So then there's the scene. It's not related to our theory, but I think we need to talk about it. The scene where like Elliot and Olivia talk, and she's like, you like came to my house, and that really scared, like that, like that scared me, and that wasn't okay. And you gave me this letter, and it doesn't even make any sense. And it's very weird. And she's like, no, you could have asked me about my personal life before you kind of like threw yourself in, like he says he loves her earlier on in the show, organized crime and all this other stuff. And it's very, that scene, it probably is the only like time that's like the only time that like, Olivia truly confronts Elliot about any of the way he's been treating her, the way she feels about him. It might be the only time since he's come back she's been truly honest with him, and she hasn't been again since. You know? Hello? You still there? Hello? Okay, I can hear you. We're good. Okay. We were at the part where Lily wants to take the stand. I had to make a note to myself so I could remember if I didn't say anything. So that's what we were talking about.
I do want to make a point, because I did before, that the judge, we already knew he was crooked, because...
Oh yeah. Let him go, Joe. Because
Yeah,
that's what the
what?
DAs call him. That
He shouldn't
Carisi
even have been on the
Carisi says
stand,
that.
because he got, like, suspended or
He did. Oh
something. I
yeah,
don't know what he's doing.
yeah, he's being. It was some bunch of weird stuff. Anyway, that was a
So
weird one.
yeah,
Don't. It's already messed up from the
I
start.
don't think Elliot was wrong about him being paid off, to be quite honest.
Yeah, for once he was not wrong. That's
Yeah.
questionable.
Okay. And then the scene, she finally held him accountable for, like,
Yeah,
once. But,
yeah. The only time since. Oh
only time.
boy. Yeah.
And then the
It's like the next day, honestly. Yeah,
yeah,
when Wheatley wants to take the stand, and Barbara's like, I don't
well,
want him to do that.
first Barbara was like, the prosecution hasn't given enough reason,
Yeah.
hasn't given anything, the defense rest. And then Wheatley was like, actually,
To say.
it's in my constitutional right for me to be able to take the stand. He's like, actually, I want to say a few words. And Barbara's like, no, you don't.
Like, no, you
In
don't.
his usual sarcastic tone.
Yeah, he sure
And
is.
Wheatley is like, it's in my constitutional right to want to
Yeah.
take a stand.
Yeah,
And the
then
judge just like
he
saying
says, before he says, if my lawyer won't go along with that, then I like a change of representation.
and Barbara was all ready to fire back. And then right at that moment.
Yeah,
And
they were
then,
pretty set. He could have won that case if it had. I mean, he wouldn't have won that case because
yeah.
Elliot had blown it already.
Oh, yeah.
So he
If
kind of
they
looked.
ended it there, it would have been done, sold,
Yeah, but
not
Wheatley
guilty.
had to take the stand. He's a big ego, much
Oh,
like
yeah.
Elliot.
Yeah, that's why they're like kindred spirits, honestly. Probably not the best choice of words, but like ego wise, kindred spirits. Uh, Barbara's all ready to fight back and say, no, you're not taking this case. And then right at that moment, Olivia and Angela walk in the door. You see, hold on, I wrote this down. Olivia comes in, and both Wheatley and Raphael look at him. And Raphael looks back at Wheatley and he's like, he's the boss. He kind of glances down. He gets nervous. And he's like, I feel like that it's very, you wouldn't like fully think of it, but that moment definitely shows something's going on. Wheatley threatened her. Okay.
Okay, again, okay, we're good. I was like, Carissa knows exactly what buttons to push to make Wheatley get angry. He does a fantastic job, and he's doing okay. He's doing fantastic. I forgot what
He learned
Carissa.
from the best.
He did learn from the best. Um, uh, but the Wheatley ends up saying, "If I wanted someone dead, they would be, including you, Mr. Carisi."
He says his name weird,
I know he does say it
which
very, but I was like,
it's like Carisi. It's
and I
like,
was like,
dude,
what? That
what?
sound? Why'd you say it like that?
Anyway,
I noticed that with
and
that too.
Peter pauses, and then he gives like this smirk,
Yeah, it's like it's a
smile, and
done deal.
it's like I got you right where I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I got threatened in the process, but I got you right where I want you.
Yeah, I mean,
And then they cut to Barbara, and he's like,
it's like, no, like,
shit.
yeah,
I feel
it
like
was.
in that moment, he realized that, like, he's very serious with his threats, and he's like,
Yeah, he's
I'm
gonna do. He will do it.
screwed. He will do
Yeah,
it. Liv
yeah,
might die. Uh,
yeah,
headcanon, Liv might die, you know.
yeah. We made this. This is our little theory.
This is our
You know.
theory until proven otherwise.
Yeah, it could be true. You never know. We've been right
It
about a
could
lot
be.
of
I
things.
feel like they were very
Intentional with
they were very
everything.
intentional with how many times like Barbara looked at her and all the things he did for her, and yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
very, very intentional. Okay,
you know,
so
Wheatley also blows up Barbara's
yeah,
thing. Crap.
yeah. So
Then they is that when we get to the scene that made us all cry?
yes, Forlini's, which does not exist anymore apparently.
It
Sad. Right.
closed. So literally the last time they ever filming in it was for that scene.
Friends, because they're lovely people.
Who, Barson?
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
was talking about. They're very close. They were always good friends, and they always have been, even when he left. And then
Yeah.
she says, "So now we're gonna have small talk." And then he says, "The problem with being an empath is too easy to lose yourself when other people need you." And a lot of people have different interpretations of this line, but some people think that he's talking about Olivia only, that like she's really empathetic, especially towards Elliot. However, I think he's talking about both of them. He's talking about himself as well, because this is a big ordeal that he took on this case, where to save her life, possibly.
Yeah.
Like his heart for
Her
her is
at least the
immaculate.
to protect like he did it to like protect her and her career at the least, and at the most her
Yeah,
life.
yeah. At the most, her life. We're still holding on to this. You read a whole story about it because we care about this. This is So anyway,
Yeah.
here comes the pain. And she goes, just so we're clear, I feel betrayed by you. And I don't know how I'll ever get over it. And we're like, hold
My
on.
heart
That
like
my heart
stopped.
stopped. I
The
was on the couch
first time
and
we heard it, my heart
yeah, it was
stopped.
painful. That was pain. I've never felt such pain from a TV show in my life. Besides
Same.
that, that is true pain. It is not.
Besides the other episode that we won't
The
talk
forbidden
about, yeah.
episode. Yeah, the forbidden episode. If you don't know what that is, somebody will tell you. We just won't. We don't ever talk about it. We won't ever talk about that again. Just know it's
1913.
1930.
That's
Yeah,
all I'm gonna say.
yeah. If you don't know, don't torture yourself with that.
Yeah.
That's if you want to
I
cause
mean,
pain.
I
That
feel
is
like
true
you have to
pain.
watch it once just to know what we're talking about. And then
Yeah,
never
you
watch
only
it
need
again.
to watch it one time. You'll never have to watch it again. So anyway, and then I think they say something else, and then they go. The jury's back anyway. So they go back to the courtroom.
Bro is very intentional with his facial expressions.
He does,
When
and they're
when Liv told Barbara, "I feel betrayed by you, and I don't know if I'll ever get over it." His face.
yes, you could
That's
see
what
the
hurt so
heartbreak in
much.
his eyes.
You
You could
could
see the
see
heartbreak.
it in his face, in his eyes. It looked like he was about to cry.
Yes,
I need to
that.
know. I need to know how they thought about filming that because they love each other.
Yeah,
Mariska and Roel. Like
yeah,
you
they're
can't tell
besties.
me it didn't hurt afterwards.
Yeah, ooh, that would hurt. That was very okay. So I don't know if we're talking about more pain or not, but anyway, I'll do something. So anyway,
I don't know. The rest of the episode just felt like pain.
thing, and the jury is deadlocked. They uh, they wonder if the judge needs words if they need more time or whatever, but the judge just goes, they don't think they need more time, so it's a mistrial. And when you look at
Barbara asked for the mistrial.
yeah,
Let's
Barbara
just
asked
stick
for a
about that.
mistrial, and then like the judge grants that, and the way like the facial expression that Barbara makes is it's very intense. It like he looks like he takes like a very exasperated breath. I know have that as my notes, and then he looks
He's
like
like half of it is like
this is finally
crap.
over, and then
I
it's like,
got the
oh,
mistrial.
that's not what we wanted in this situation.
The other part is I got the mistrial. Thank God. It's very mixed and conflicted.
Yeah.
Because
So
the man in him did not want to do any of this. Did not want to mistrial. But the empath and the good man in him wanting to protect Olivia was like, I did what I had to do.
Yeah. So like there's this like scene. You see it from the back. Like Wheatley like pats him on the shoulder, but we can't see what he like says or anything. It's very like what is going on? And towards the end is really you can pick up on there's something going on here. And it's very, very like yeah, and then like before like it's not quite the end of the episode, but we don't talk about the rest of the episode because it doesn't really matter to the situation. Um he looks at Barbara looks at Liv again before she leaves, and he looks very heartbroken and sad. Like,
but there's also like an intense like brooding like
yeah,
appearance of his look, and she
yeah,
gives him the deathiest of death glares.
yeah.
And
Like,
that is how we have been left for months.
It's December 9th.
December 9th, and they have not talked since.
Fine. And he says, "I told you once. I don't care if it was for clients. There'll never be enough money in the world." He says, and then Wheatley says, "I disagree. There's plenty of money in the world, Raphael, and I plan to get my hands on all of it." And then Wheatley kind of just leaves, gets out of prison. Then Barbara looks really like he looks very concerned.
I mean, I would be too if like,
and exasperated.
There's a murderer out on the street.
Yeah, it's funny what you wrote. Like we write notes with each other, and you put, and now he's out on the street, sad face.
Because he could go kill
you
people
did put a
again, and he did.
Like you did,
he
did, and that's just where we were left off.
And then the Wheatley arc went on for 8
forever.
Freaking episodes.
It did, and it could have ended better than that. Honestly, that's kind of.
Oh, it could have.
We don't think Wheatley's dead. I don't think Wheatley's dead, but
I
Angela.
don't know. Dead. Honestly, if he's dead, I don't
Who cares?
care.
It doesn't matter.
Fine.
It doesn't matter. This theory that I made is completely thrown out the window. This other one I made, that
Okay,
doesn't matter anymore.
organized crime spoilers for people who
Yeah,
haven't
don't watch
watched it,
or don't
but
care to watch it.
or don't care. Uh, the ones who actually found out that Wheatley kind of was involved were Jet and
Yeah,
Malachi.
yeah.
When they had to do this thing called like a rainbow table
Mm-hmm.
to like figure out like his Wheatley's like password to his
Mm-hmm.
account so they could actually go arrest him again. And they tried like most of the time rainbow table is like and they could try like all the important days in people's life, things they want to commemorate. They had a long overnight session trying to figure out and they couldn't crack it. Until Jet had, the genius that she is, genius brain burst that
Was we actually involved in it? And but then also thinking about that makes you think about like if Raphael knew that all along, it
like
makes you think a lot.
yeah,
Like he pretends
no,
like he does, like when like he goes on, he
that
does.
would be like even more of like an question or reason of why did you defend him if you actually knew he was part of this, but it also go to even more of like the he did this for Liv type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Definitely did.
did you say what the password was or do I have to say
Yeah,
it?
I said it's Kathy's death, the day she
The
died.
day the day Kathy Stabler died was Richard
Yeah,
Wheatley's password,
yeah. Ugh. So that was our
and
theory.
Elliot was pissed.
Sure was.
And then he went to go beat up Wheatley in an elevator after that,
Yeah. I wrote a
Fun
theory
times.
about that, but that theory got debunked. And honestly, my theory would have been better
What was
than
your
the
theory?
episode. I did. Um, that Elliot would get in trouble, and then like we would want a lawsuit against the NYPD.
Oh, he showed
That's,
up.
that's what we wanted actually.
Well,
Uh,
actually, I mean, technically, later, Ayana yelled at him, and then
we wanted a bit
Wheatley
more than that. Yeah.
had Stabler, like, commit to, like, all the crimes that he did, like, in front of,
Yeah.
like, a news conference or whatever,
Yeah.
and
That was a kind of interesting comment.
me, me not forgetting how much crap he's actually done
Yeah, we're like, ooh, we like go back and watch like 1.0 to
for research.
for research. You're like, wait a second, that happened?
Dude should not
And
really
not
be a cop.
no. But they let it
No.
slide because he
Because
does these.
It's Elliot Stabler. They let
Yes,
it slide because it's Elliot Stabler.
definitely,
No ifs,
definitely,
ands, or
definitely.
buts.
Yeah. So we're hoping in the season for everyone they have to talk because they're doing this case. And she's probably gonna ask. I mean, no, she didn't ask in the moment, but I feel like Raphael's gonna have to tell her. I did why he did what he did, which in our minds, you can debate this all you want, but as people who listen to our show, but he's gonna have to basically tell her that he did it because he loves her, he, you know, and that I don't know how she's gonna react to that, and hopefully it's we get some canon Barson because we've been waiting for so long since the
It took so
season.
long.
Yeah,
Did you already say that we were like pretty sure Stabler isn't in this episode?
Yeah, that's confirmed. I didn't say it, but he's not in the episode. That is confirmed.
No, he's not in the episode. I mean, after everything that happened, we'll probably get a mention, but
Yeah, he'll
at
probably
least
be
he's
in an
not showing
episode.
up.
I feel like if they can in Barson, Elliot will have something to say about that, but not until next season.
Oh, for sure.
But
Fine, we'll get like a month of wondering what it's gonna be.
yeah, at least we'll be
Or
waiting for 3 months about that at least. But what was I saying about that? Oh yeah, they're gonna have to talk, and like he was gonna want to know why, and he's gonna have to say he loves her. Hopefully, she says she loves him too, and then they become a happy
hopefully.
couple.
Amanda
Yeah,
can just be the mediator and she'll be like sitting there like, yeah, I
just
did
talk.
this. You're
Yeah, let's
welcome.
talk it out there.
Go
We need to know.
talk. We
Talk
need
it
to
out,
talk.
please, because we can't keep living like this.
No, we can't.
I
Like,
cannot. I'll keep writing, keep for a healthy.
Fick land is. Oh, speaking of fix and stuff, Did you notice how we decided to like go back to writing Barson this afternoon, and
We
about like
did.
literally
After we
just as
did,
we were
you were like, let's go back to what we were doing. Can't tell you what that is. You need to read the fic. But we were like, let's
and we
go
went as
back to
soon as
write.
we went back to it, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
like 15 minutes or so later, the
Yeah,
news
the news.
dropped.
Yeah, yeah, because we had not been currently writing Barson. Uh, we
Surprisingly,
surprise. It's not good. It's
it's
we
not.
talked about it last week a little bit, but like we've been pushing that story for a while, and it's a very something. But man,
We
you'll
finally
well,
went back to the happiness,
we did. We
and
had to.
then the news
We've been
dropped,
staying.
and I'm
We
like,
did.
it's
So we
gonna
had
take
to.
it
It's required.
outside.
We did.
You're the one with the countdown, right?
Yeah,
So
we're
like,
on day 210 of waiting since the beginning of season 20. It's the first episode of season 2. What am I saying? Since the first episode of season 23, it's 210 days.
oh, at
That
least
is
it's hopefully this countdown's gonna end in May.
yes, because that's too long.
Oh,
So
can
I have
we
a
just
widget
talk
on my
about
phone.
again how now we have another role thing to look forward to in May?
We do so many. May is looking like a good month, y'all. Just saying.
Yeah, you have a wonderful
I do.
birthday month.
It will be fantastic. So, so I guess we need to. We talked about that part of what we're going to talk about today. So we need to talk about the ship Barson itself, and I think that's a very important thing to talk about. And a lot of people may not understand why the ship is so important and why people actually do see them as being a good couple. So I think we're gonna go through that a bit. Let's go through that a bit. There's several
Why are they
big,
a good couple?
yeah, running like in like the little things that you notice that make them a couple. Noticed what? Oh, that's what I'm trying to say. What was the first thing that kind of made you want to be a Barson shipper? I think is the question I'm
I
trying to ask. That's the
don't
question I'm asking.
I don't specifically remember. I feel like it started in like possibly end of season 18,
Yeah,
start
I
of
would agree.
19, but I don't have a specific moment that I can think of.
I do. Mine was Gone Baby
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh
Watching
yeah.
Gone
I
Baby Gone is that. That's
feel
it for
like
me.
that was definitely a specific one.
Yes. I didn't write any of these in order. I just kind of was just brain bubbling out of here.
I didn't
Um,
like know what ships were back
yeah, I
then,
didn't either. I wasn't big into
but
ships. I was in Release. That was about it.
I could see something going on, and I was like, "What is this? Why do I want something to happen? What is going on?" Now I know
Yeah, they're
that I want it to
a little
be
Barson magic. We were talking about that with our friends earlier. That Barson has this little magic to it. That's just
the magic of Barson. I
it
wanted
does.
them to be in a romantic relationship.
We do. We do. They make a great one. Um, the farthest thing I think I have, it is really they kind of talked about love a little bit and Funny Valentine.
Oh
And not
yeah,
necessarily about love to each other, but like it was like, I could see that maybe. Um, what else? This is also really funny that like Olivia could always find him wherever he was, and they make a joke about it later. He's like, "How'd you find me?"
I'm
She
a
makes
detective.
yeah. She's always able to find him all the time. Um, they later. What else? The most noted one. I'm trying to go and look in this order. None of these are in order. I kind of just was going. Uh, of the episode, because they're talking about like Noah's adoption and stuff, and he holds Noah like a bomb. It's the funniest thing. But like the fact that Olivia trusted him to hold her son,
Even though she does not know how to hold he does
and no,
not
he
know how
does
to hold
it
a kid in a
literally
woman.
like he's a bomb. But she's like, "Here you go. I'm gonna hold my son for me." And she's like, sure." Yeah. I know it's a very cute little scene. I love it. It means a lot to me that like she trusted him like that. Um. So another incident that I think is also very key is the episode Townhouse Incident, and how nobody knew Olivia was gone except for him at first.
Why would first off, why would nobody else know you were gone? Like
Nobody knew where she
guys.
was. She was being held hostage, and nobody knew where she
And then
was.
at one point, he was like, "Where's Liv?" And Finn was like, "Oh, at like this conference this morning." And then Barbara was like, "No, she was there with me, and it's over."
He was like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "She did not get there." I'm like, "Bro,
And then they
where?
get
No
a
one."
and then they get a text that says,
Yeah,
from Lucy comes in. She's like, "I got a text from Liv." They read it, and it says, "I need you to pick up Lewis from daycare." And Creasy's like, "I think it's Creasy." At least like, "Who's Lewis?" And then Barbara's like,
yeah, because no one, everyone else except him would know.
"Oh crap!"
Yeah, because Creasy wasn't there when the Lewis
It's
the story was playing around.
Lewis has basically become like SVU's code of
Kidnap
1013.
1013.
Officer needs help, and Barbara's like, "Oh God, we gotta go find her like now."
Olivia really is a Raphael, and that's such a very like careful and very unique thing that he cares immensely for her, and she
They're
very immensely cares for him.
they're very protective of each other,
They are.
and it's not like a possessive
No,
protectiveness. It's like, I
you
want
can
you to
very
be
clearly see.
okay.
Yeah,
I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. I will still go to the ends of the earth to make sure you're protected, but it's like a healthy protection.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And then the episode Know It All, you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, that one kind of hurt, but
Yeah, it did. It
it
sure
did. That one
did.
hurt. It didn't hurt as bad as other ones, but
Oh yeah. Well, because at first it's like, so spoilers. Barbara gets like called for a call from like this perp who's like a big like tech dude, so he can find like basically anything.
yeah,
And he's already threatened like a guy to like change his testimony, and the squad had to like figure out why. And he gets a call from this dude, and he knows like something very like specific about him, a secret
mm-hmm.
he's been holding for years, and he threatens to like release it or like tell people.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
So he has to recuse himself from the case. And Liv is like, "What the heck? Why aren't you telling me?" And Barbara's like, "I can't tell you. I'm not on this case anymore. You can't talk to me. Go, but still, go take this guy down."
Yeah, definitely. And he's
Eventually,
like, no, because he's like,
they,
this might be our last case together, you know? He says that
ah,
to Liv
yeah, I
because
forgot about that.
they talk about it. He tells her the truth because she's like,
So he tells her the story of the big secret he's been holding.
hi, editing Terryn here. You may be wondering why the episode kind of ends sporadically without like a real ending. And it's because we had to take a break from recording and record a different day. However, in between that time, a lot more cool announcements and things came out about the future episode of the SV finale. And so this episode was getting rather long, so we decided that we were going to give you two parts to all things Barson and why you should ship. So we can't wait for you guys to listen to that part, and we'll thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.